Shalom Vaeschanan, Shabbos Nachamu. And where is it better to be Shabbos Nachamu than to finally, Baruch Hashem, do the shir from Yerushalayim once again. We're just about a couple of minutes before sunset time here. Always a very beautiful time. We're here for our Nesivos Shalom shir, Shabbos Nachamu. This Shabbos, you know what, let me put this down over here. Okay, a little bit better. This Shabbos, as we all know, there's a reason it's called Shabbos Nachamu. The Shabbos for a Yid, it's the Shabbos of consolation. The Shabbos after Tisha B'Av. And the reason why it's called Nachamu is actually, we know because of the Haftarah that we read this week that begins with Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, from the Navi Yeshaya. And as a nation, over the past 2,000 years, from all the generations, on Tisha B'Av, we have taken such a beating, one thing after the other, and now we look to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is really the only source of consolation for a Yid. We skip all the middlemen, we skip everything else, and we look to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is the only one, Kaviyachal, that could really provide us with the consolation that we need. And this week's Haftarah begins a stretch of 7 weeks. Believe it or not, there's only 7 weeks to Rosh Hashanah. And these 7 weeks, every week from now until Rosh Hashanah, there is a Haftarah of a Nechama, Haftarah of Nachamu, the Shiva V'Nechemta, it is called. And we do that all the way until Rosh Hashanah. And if one actually prepares themselves and comes into the Shabbosos the way we should, and we think about the Haftarahs that we read every Shabbos, we find, even today, so many years later, we find that they are really, really so soothing for us and every one of us in our lives. Yes, even almost 2,000 years after the Churban Beis HaMikdash. These Haftarahs, they encourage us and they lift us up, and I want to recommend it's Kedai to look into the Haftarahs and look into them a little bit deeper. The Saba Kadisha Melechevich brought down in the Nesivos Shalom tells us that the biggest Nechama is right at the outset of the Haftarah. And you know what that is? First and foremost, the words that we read, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami. And says the Saba Kadisha Milechevich, you know what that means? You know what it tells us? They deliver an extremely important message, those 3 words. Because you know why a Yid is consoled? You know why you're consoled? Nachamu, Nachamu, because Ami. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us that the first thing you have to know is that the reason you should be consoled is because you are my nation. Hashem is telling us, Elokeichem, I am your God. And that for a Yid is the biggest consolation, to know that Hashem is our God and we are his children. And that can never and will never change, Hashem is telling us. So right away, we have Shiva V'Nechemta, we have 7 weeks of consolation. But the first 3 weeks, at the first 10 seconds of the Haftarah, Nachamu, Nachamu, you know why? Because Ami, because you are my nation. The Saba Kadisha Mislanim, Zechusi Yogan Aleinu, tells us that it's a mitzvah for us. This is brought down in the Nesivos Shalom. It's a mitzvah for us to review the halacha that's brought down in the Gemara, Bein Kach Ubein Kach Nikru Uvanim. That no matter where we are holding in life, and everybody, every person, every group, everyone has their ups and downs in lives, times that we feel better about ourselves, times that as people we're doing better, we're not doing so well, but we have to remember and knock those words into our head that Bein Kach Ubein Kach, wherever you're holding Nikru Uvanim, we never ever lose the title of children. And that is really the consolation of every Yid, the fact that we are always Ami, says the Nesivos Shalom, that we are never, ever distanced more from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We will always be the children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And once we know that we are banim to Hashem, it's also the greatest musar to every Yid. You know why? Because if you're a child, if you're a Ben Melech, and you know that you're Ben Melech, then you have responsibilities too, says the Nesivos Shalom. You have responsibilities to act different. You have to watch how you act. Yes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to act to you as a father, but just know, if you're the prince, you have to act in a different way. You have to watch the way you act. You have to watch the way you treat other people, because we all know that regular people have a certain way of dialogue, a way of dealing with other people. But if you're a prince, you have to live up to a little bit higher standard. And every one of us has to know that every person is a prince. You're a child of Hashem. You have to watch the way you treat your people around you. We have a certain behavior. People should look at us and say, that is the child of a prince. Shlomo Karlin tells us, also brought down in Nesivos Shalom, that the worst thing is for a person to forget that you're a Ben Melech. If you lose that dignity, if you lose that, then that is not a good thing for a person. The Svarim HaKadoshim tell us that we double the lashon of Nachamu, Nachamu. Why doesn't it just say it once? We double the lashon of Nachamu, Nachamu because it's keneged the pasuk of Anochi Haster Astir Ponai. Hashem says that in times of trouble, in times when we're down, there's going to be a double hiding. Hashem is going to hide himself in a double way. So we say Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, that we are now a double consolation to counter those two inyanim of Hester. First of all, there's a Hester where the Yetzer Hara says in Nesivos Shalom, the first Hester, the first hiding of Hashem is where the Yetzer Hara convinces a person to do something neged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the first Hester, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hidden and the Yetzer Hara tells us to do something against the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But then there's another Hester, there's something we were just talking about, where that's bigger. V'hanoichi astir ponai bayoimahu. Where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to hide his face, and you're going to forget that you're a Ben Melech. You're going to forget that you are a child of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when a person sins and does that, and you forget you're a Ben Melech, it's double as bad. And that's why we say Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, a double lashon keneged the two ways that HaKadosh Baruch Hu might hide from a person. And that is the great, great nechama that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I will send you a consolation, the double consolation. Hashem is telling us, Elokeichem, that I'm going to let you know that you should never forget that I am your God and you are Ami. You are my nation, and that is forever. We still have that special connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we have to strengthen ourselves. See, the Shalom tells us that that is part of one of the Ikrei Emunah. That is part of Emunah. When you say that you believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to believe what we are to Hashem and what Hashem is to us. And we have 7 weeks now of the Shiva Nechemta until Rosh Hashanah. And yes, believe it or not, this is part of the preparation for preparing us for Rosh Hashanah, where we proclaim that Hashem Melech, that Hashem HaMelech, Hashem is our King. It starts now, where we pick ourselves off the ground after Tisha B'Av, where we remember who we are and who HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. And we have to know that because we are different people, we have to act differently. And when we act differently, that's the way we grow toward Rosh Hashanah. We become better and better people. For now, for the next 7 weeks, each Shabbos that we have a new and fresh and bigger nechama, that in one day soon, Amir Hashem, we're going to come back to this gorgeous city of Yerushalayim. Every Yid has a special feeling in their heart when they come here. Every Yid feels connected to Yerushalayim, but you know why you feel connected to Yerushalayim? Because your neshama, you as a person, are connected to what is providing Yerushalayim with the Kedusha. You are connected to the Shekhinah, and that gives you a special people, a special feeling. It's not just the beauty aesthetically of Yerushalayim. And we have to know each week as we grow, come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let's remember that we are a Ben Melech, we are B'nai Melachim, and we should have Taka Nechama, the double Nechama of Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. We should have the final consolation, and we should all be here together with Mashiach Tzidkenu shortly, B'mheira v'yameinu, Amen v'Amen.